morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday, the 10th of May, 2023, if you can believe that. We got loads of people in the chat today. This is quite exciting. Nearly spilled my cup there in excitement, but there's nothing in here yet. I'm about to fill it. Big news. Big news last night coming through is that Donald Trump is now officially a sex offender. He was found guilty by a jury of his peers. It was a civil court, so he won't face criminal charges. He won't go to jail yet, unfortunately, but he is going to have to pay out the best part of $5 million to Eugene Cavell, who he definitely abused. And his defense was quite remarkable because he actually said that she wasn't his type. She wasn't his type. But then he went on to confuse her, an old picture of her with one of his former wives, who presumably was his type because he married her. More disconcertingly, she married him. Now, we're going to talk about the effect this is going to have on Trump's re-election chances in a moment. But first, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat there. We've got One Angry Pagan, Good Peoples, Socialists in chat, hello. We've got Hi on desktop for once, excellent. Morning to from Lee Korn. We've got Aki's Mad saying, morning, Graham. It's Graham with a H, actually, Aki. Good morning, Planet Britain. Hi, Graham. Hi, Tories. Suppose. I don't know if there's any Tories here. Hugh. I hope not. Anyway, there's Alec there. Regan Elite's there. Hi, Regan Elite. Regan Elite even. And we've got Stephanie Wilson saying, good morning, all. I'm looking for my daily dose of sanity. Oh, don't know if you've come to the right place. There's a couple of videos that went on last night. Sorry they were a bit late going up. I've had technical problems up the kazooie. And if you watch the video I did about the EU, where my bollocks the Brexit hat, and the fact that it was Europe Day, and I rushed it out to try and get it, online before midnight. It actually was online probably after midnight for most of Europe. Oh well, never mind, because of the time differences. But at the end of that, the animation didn't work properly because my computer is just straining. My laptop is straining under the weight of having to do things in real time. It wants me to put it into Adobe Premiere, take ages to edit it, and I can't be bothered with that. I want to get as many videos out as humanly possible to keep everyone entertained and informed, I guess. That's what we're trying to do. Something else that I want to talk about today is Labour's comms. So we're going to have a chat about Labour's comms. So Trump's troubles and Labour's comms. So we've got Master Templar is in there. We've got Lucy Willis. We've also got Tim Ballon has turned up. We've got Ian. Ian too is there too. We've got Nina Hathaway and Joanne and Dave Skelly. Sorry if I missed anyone. City Life 2015 saying morning all. So let's talk about Trump. This guy we know is a sex pest. We've known he's been a sex pest for years, literally for years. The character of Biff Tannen in Back to the Future, that alternative future in Back to the Future 2 when Marty goes back and he's got the almanac and he's got this horrible dystopian future in which his dad is dead and his mum's married to Biff. And Biff, that character of Biff was based on Donald Trump. Yeah. Plus, in Gremlins 2, the new batch, Clamp Tower was obviously based on Trump Tower, if you watch that as well. So he's always been known as a villain in the movie industry, I suppose. But now, we've seen a side of Trump when he became when he was running for president, when the Access Hollywood tape came out. A tape came out of him bragging about sexually assaulting women. And yet, millions of women still voted for him. And then, by sheer chance, actually, I think that it was, a little bit set up this way. We'll dive into the whole Supreme Court on another episode and how that all went down. But in a 4-year term, he managed to appoint 3 Supreme Justices. So now in the court, the Supreme Court, there is 6 right-wing Republican justices, and there's only 3 liberal justices. There's only 3 Republican, Democrat judges, and that's thanks to Trump. He did that when he was in power. When he was in power, many women came forward to say that they had been abused by him. And in this case, Eugene Cavell said she had been raped by him. And he knew that at the time he was safe because they have this really, really stupid thing in law called the statute of limitation, which means that if you commit murder, but it was like 20 years ago, it doesn't count anymore because you've got away with it for 20 years. So you shouldn't have justice meted onto your doorstep. Oh, actually, no. in the case of murder, it still counts. You can murder someone in 1967 and still be done for it today, because that's murder. But when it comes to sexual assault, and most outrageously, the abuse of children, there is a statute of limitation, which means that that child has to bring the case before a court within a set amount of time. And if they don't, the Catholic Church or whoever is the institution or the individual behind the abuse can just laugh themselves silly at the fact that the law is an ass, and makes it very easy for perpetrators to get away with this kind of stuff. Now, the great state of New York, or the city of New York, one of the two, brought in a law last year saying that if you have been sexually assaulted in the past, you can bring a claim. And I think Trump was target number one for perhaps many women, but in particular E. Jean Carroll, who filed a motion for him to be done for rape and defamation on the day. On the actual, I think it was the first day that they could do this sort of statute of limitation amnesty, where crimes of the past, serious crimes of the past, could be litigated against. And although it wouldn't be in a criminal court, it would be a civil court. It could mean that, first of all, you get damages, which is great for the victim, I guess, getting some kind of monetary, I don't know what you call it, reparation for what they've gone through is one thing, but it's just the recognition that this thing happened and they weren't making it up and they were assaulted is probably more important than the money at the end of the day. Now, the big question is this going to change Trump's election chances? Now, the BBC and other news sites have been running around asking people, idiots mostly in Florida, will you still vote for Trump? And some women are saying, yes, I will still vote for him because I don't believe this is true. I don't believe that he could do anything wrong. And before you go, oh my God, these people are wrapped up in a cult who believes their Messiah is absolutely infallible and the greatest human to have ever existed, I'll just remind you that for a while there, Labour was led by a man who a lot of people thought was the Messiah. Like, seriously, some still do. Some of the Never Starmers still do. And I'll come on to Labour's comms problem in a moment, but let's just talk about Trump. So here we have this former president of the United States. He's going to run for a fourth time now. Fourth, because he ran in 2000. He's going to run for a fourth time as president. Oh, he said he was going to run. He pretended to run. I don't know. He didn't get very far in 2000. But yeah, this will be the fourth time that he's tried to become president, effectively. And yeah, I don't think fourth time's going to be lucky. I think that America's sick of him. They're sick of the drama. They're sick of all the trauma of waking up every day going, oh God, what now? But also, I think that there's going to be a lot of women. Okay, I'm saying I think, like this is my opinion. No. A lot of women, statistics, this is just counting. I love that expression. James O'Brien uses it all the time. It's not an opinion, it's just counting. A lot of women, and even Republican voting women, have been turned away from voting for the Republicans because of two issues. One of them is abortion, which is massive in America because the vast majority, up to 70% of Americans, agree that abortion should be legal. And it's been made illegal in a bunch of states. Or so draconian that it makes it kind of impossible to get an abortion in many states. And although there are some very, very garrulous, shrill, I don't want to say shrill, that's sexist, there are certain women who will go and protest outside abortion clinics and are welcoming this kind of thing. But the vast majority of women in America are pissed off about this. They're not happy that their right over to do what with their own body what they want has been taken away from them, usually by a bunch of men. So that's dented the Republicans. And you know, great. Make them wear it like a millstone around their neck. Call them the Republican abortion ban party. The Republican, let's kill women who can't have an abortion because the child is going to kill them if they continue being pregnant with that child. Yeah, let's call the Republicans the Republican anti-abortion party, the anti-freedom party, the anti-bodily autonomy party, in the same way that we need to hang the millstone of Brexit around the Tories' necks in this country and say, no, do you know what, Nick Ferrari? I don't give a shit if you don't want to talk about Brexit anymore because it is affecting the lives of everyone in this country. It is the reason why our cost of living has gone through the roof. It is the reason why our growth has just stagnated over the last few years. It's the reason why investment has gone. Entire industries have disappeared overnight. People are doing gig jobs in the gig economy for pennies. They can't even afford to buy anything at a time when, oh my God, things should be cheaper than ever before. It's all made by robots, for God's sake. Think about this for a moment. Imagine in the 50s, you wanted an electric car in the 1950s. How difficult would that have been? A lithium-powered electric car. Go get some lithium, mate, from Bolivia or from Botswana. Go on, off your pop. Go get some lithium. Go. You see one of these mobile phones, right? How much tech is in one of these? These should cost £100,000 each. If you had one of these 30 years ago, it would have cost £1 million easily. And yet you can buy a cheap mobile phone like this for like £100. So things should be cheaper. Life should be cheaper. Food should be cheaper. It's easier to make food now. We've got nitrates. We've got intensive farming practices. This stuff should be cheap. Houses. For God's sake, when this house was built, I'm in an old Victorian house. The blocks that built this house, the stone that built this house, the bricks that built this house would have been brought here on a freaking horse and cart, mate. On a horse and cart. Not in a truck. A horse and cart. It would have taken loads of people to build this quite a small house, this tiny house. Like, now, you need like a few people, and you don't even build it properly. You just build it with that bloody breeze blocks, and then you stick some tiles that look like bricks on the outside and go, ta-da! It should be cheap, but it's not. So in the same way that we need to not stop talking about Brexit, we need to talk about Brexit even more and more until the horrible thing goes away and we rejoin the EU. That's very important. And don't let the right-wingers, the privately educated millionaires like Nick Ferrari, dictate to us what we're allowed to mention. Oh, don't talk about Brexit. I don't want to go there. And you see this with the Republicans in America. A lot of them don't want to talk about abortion. But talk about it. Hang it round their necks. Because it's what they did. And you know what? These scumbags will have to do something one day. They'll have to take responsibility. Something they've never done in their lives. Imagine living your entire life and never taking any responsibility for anything. Yeah. Anyway, Stephen says we didn't have neoliberalism 30 years ago. Yeah, we did. It was the 80s, mate. It was bloody Reagan. 1983. 1983, it was like the height of neoliberalism. It was these reforms that Reagan brought in saying, oh, we don't need government. Oh, the worst word you can hear is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. And now America has the most expensive and shittest healthcare system in the world. Yeah. Anyway, yay, slavery, indeed. Well, it's one of those things where the bad people have the equivalent of the dog that's caught the car. In the Republicans, in America, it's abortion. In the UK, it's the right wingers with Brexit. They've got this thing that they've always wanted, they've dreamed of all their life, and they don't know what to do with it because they know it's a nightmare. And you look at the polls. The people from Poland, beautiful people. No, look at the voting polls. The people who are giving their opinion about how they feel about different things, and you see time and time again that young people are not voting for the Republicans. They're not voting for the Tories. They hate them, and you see that changes as people get older, but not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Now millennials and Generation Z, as they're getting older, they're getting more left-wing. They're getting more socialist. Good stuff. Good on you, younger generations. Why? Because they don't have the security that their parents had or that their grandparents had. It's been taken away from them. It's been ripped away from them. And now we're working longer than ever. We're being less productive. Things are costing us more. The percentage of your household income that is going on rent or a mortgage has gone from around 9% on average to 33% on average. And some person who rang in the radio like yesterday going, well, I'm 26 and, we had to go without holidays for a couple of years. And then we managed to put down a £38,000 deposit on a house. And I'm like, what? £38,000. You do know that the average wage in this country is 27,000. That's for a year. Well, we didn't go on holiday, so I'll just make this very clear. When I travelled to every country in the world, it took me 4 years and cost me around £27,000. Over 4 years. That was all my accommodation, all my travel, all my visas, all the food I ate. And drink I drank. I did drink a lot of drink. What holiday did they go on? Anyway, yeah. He didn't go on holiday for a couple of years. And then put down a deposit for a house. So young people are priced out the housing market, and that's the Tories' fault. Another thing to hang around their necks. But people don't, because they want to complain about Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. So let's move on to that momentarily, because I don't want to go on about America too much. I'm just hoping that with this latest courtroom, you know, it's a jury. It's not like a bunch of Democrats who are out to get Trump, who voted in the jury to say this guy's guilty of sexual assault. No, it was a jury of your peers. It was what was it? It was something mad, like 9 men and 3 women or something. It was was it six men and 3 women? Was it? Yeah. So you would think it would be stacked against the accuser, but obviously they saw enough evidence to think, on the balance of probability, he probably did it. Now, I know it's not going to convince everyone, but it needs to convince just a few people relatively in America for it to make all the difference. And if he does run for president again, it should be a slam dunk that he hopefully, touch wood, doesn't get in. You know, barring some kind of tragedy or some, darling events or whatever the quote is. Let's just put it this way: Biden's not getting any younger. Look at this mom working 3 jobs. Ain't that great? Nothing more American than that. George W. Bush. Being a mom should be a job. That's it. You want to have kids? Great. Have them. Look after them. Here's some money from the state, because I don't have kids. So, that would be fine with me. You can have kids so I don't have to. Well, we'll go out and do other stuff. Good morning, all. Hope everyone is well, my friends. That's Darren there, Daily Blase. Hello. 9 and 3, 6 and 9, 9 in total. Unanimous decision in less than 3 hours. Wow. And the original Generation X, I was 17 when Thatcher came in. 1979, it was ghastly, ducking and diving Times City. Indeed. Trump incriminated himself in his testimony. He did, yeah. He said, it was just like... It was an incredible bit of footage when he was like, "Oh yeah, it's not my type. That's my wife, isn't it? No, that's the woman who's accusing you of this. Oh yeah, definitely not my type. Even though she looks so much like my wife, I got you mixed up with her. Points on photo, she's not my type. Mistakes accuse her for wife. I know. I don't mean to laugh because it's quite a serious business, but oh my god, what a horrible man. What a horrible, giant, orange, tango monster, Voldemort, Cheeto, scumbag, bastard. He's just the worst, isn't he? Graham, your audio is a bit low. Oh, yeah, do you know what? This is because yesterday, when I was filming that bloody Europe Day thing, I've turned it up a bit. See how that goes. I realised at the end that it had because I was a bit shouty. Please watch the video. It's very shouty, very impassioned. There was a bit where the audio went because it couldn't handle my shoutiness. So I turned the volume down on my mic, ready for this morning. So thanks for letting me know. If there's any technical problems during the show, please let me know in the chat. And also, if you do want me to read your message, you don't have to, but if you definitely want me to read your message, if you drop in a super chat, I'm happy to read your message out loud. Otherwise, it's just kind of a little bit random, whatever's on my screen at any one time. Vendetta says, when talking about MP salaries, we should take into consideration the $250,000 in benefits they apply for over the year as well. Can't argue with that. Right-wing economic thinking, the market will solve everything, the state shouldn't get involved. Yeah, that's why there's 3 generations living in 2-bed terraces nowadays. Yeah, Badbone 777. We should have the highest standard of living that has ever been known on this island, and we don't. How is that? How has that happened? Everything is cheaper to make now. Everything. Think about music. Think about movies. You just watch them on your telly. You just listen to them on your phone. You don't have to buy a physical. You don't have to go to town and go to HMV or Woolworths and actually buy a VHS tape and then put it in a VHS player, and you have to buy the VHS. All the things in the past that you had to buy, you don't need to anymore. It's just a lot easier. Life should be cheap right now. Not as in, let's kill everyone. I mean, like, living your life right now. We should have more money to spend on frivolous stuff than ever before. And yet, we are spending more on the essentials, the basics, keeping warm, eating, and paying the rent. That's it. That's where the majority of our money is now going. And that's 13 years of Tory Britain. Right, let's talk about Labour's comms. So, some of you might know why this channel was set up. And I don't, Graham, what do you mean you're not on VHS? I'm saying that it's a lot easier to do a live show. This isn't costing me anything to do this. Obviously, I bought a camera, but that was a while ago. I'm using a lot of old kit for this setup at the moment, as you can probably tell. But it's not quite as professional as I would like it to look. I'm just saying that, like, back in the past. And you do remember that when you first started renting VHS tapes, they were like 20 quid to rent. When CDs first came out, they were £16.50 for an album. You used to get them discounted to £10, didn't you, in HMV? Remember that? But if you bought them for the label price, it was £16.50 or £16.95 for an album for like 7 or 8 bloody songs. I mean, Christ, wow! If you wanted to get a DVD player back when DVD players first came out, they were over £1,000 bloody pounds, which is ridiculous. I mean, they had loads less moving parts in than a VHS player. And all they were was an adaptation of the technology we had already by then for 15 odd years, which was the CD. It was just changing the bandwidth of the laser. Anyway, I thought this was on CFAX. Looks more than professional enough for me, says Conservator. Thank you very much, Conservator. I like the cut of your jib. So anyway, let's talk about Labour for a little bit and comms. We've got about 8 minutes left. So one of the reasons I set up this channel is that me and some of my friends who make YouTube videos were having discussions about how bad Labour's comms are. Now, this isn't going to be a slagging off Labour. Oh, well, I could do better myself. But I could do better myself. And I'm really kind of embarrassed at the fact that Labour haven't cottoned on to the fact that the newspapers are never, ever going to back them. Those big selling newspapers, The Sun and The Mail and all that lot, they're never going to back Labour. They're never going to get behind the Labour thing. It just isn't going to happen, right? And the fact is that most people under the age of 40 do not read newspapers. In fact, under the age of 50 these days, do not read newspapers. But what they do is they watch, watch YouTube channels like this and like Phil Morehouse's channel. And we were having a look at Phil Morehouse's stats the other day. Not his physical stats, but the stats on his YouTube page. And it's remarkable, like the spread of ages on there. It goes from teenagers to people in their 60s and 70s watching Phil every day. And that, to me, shows the power of social media. And yet Labour seem to under the misconception that they're still fighting the 1975 election. They're not. This is the 2020s, and we have this technology at our fingertips. Any Labour MP can pick up their phone and make a TikTok video. Some of them do it. Some of them do it quite successfully, but not enough to communicate with their own constituents, and if they're in the shadow cabinet, the country as a whole, of what they're up to and what they're doing and what they're going to do and what their plans are. It's a free channel. The Tories might have GBBs and might have Talk TV and Talk Radio, but we've got this. We've got YouTube. We've got TikTok. It doesn't cost anything to put a video on here. We don't have to pay to play. Imagine that. Imagine having a TV studio. Imagine 30 years ago having a TV studio in your house that could broadcast to literally everyone in the country for nothing. No broadcasting fees. Do you remember when you used to get these people who were like arrested for having pirate radio stations? You weren't allowed to have, which you still aren't, you're not allowed to have broadcaster radio at certain frequencies because that's for commercial and BBC radio. You're not allowed to use those frequencies. I mean, people did. And you had things like Radio Caroline and Radio Luxembourg and things like that. I mean, people got arrested. People went to jail for that stuff. Now, you want to set up your own radio station, you can do it. It's nothing. Put it on YouTube. Put it on TikTok. Whatever. I can't put a radio station on TikTok, but you know what I mean. And so Labour Social was born out of the frustration with Labour and its comms, essentially, and the fact that it's not making the most of the social media world. And also, we didn't want to be in a situation, Phil and I and others, we didn't want to be in a situation where we were making content and we had to run it through Labour HQ first, because then we couldn't do any live content. I couldn't do this if I had to have someone with a clipboard standing next to me going, "No, I can't say that, Graham. Oh, you made a terrible joke. Never do that again." So yeah, now we just have copyright, indeed. Grimfang999 says it's especially true as older lefties seem more tech savvy than older righties. Yeah, it's true. Just use it. Use what you've got. So the reason I'm talking about this is at the beginning of this week, David Lammy was, I think, on LBC Radio. I think he was subbing for James O'Brien. And he was asked a question about changing the protest laws. And instead of answering it in the way that you answer these questions, if you'd had any media training, I don't know, or I just don't know what's going through their heads, you would say that is on the list of things that we need to look at that the Tories have done that are awful. It's a very long list. There you go. That's actually a non-answer. And it's a dig at the Tories for messing so many things up. But I'm not promising anything. I'm not saying that we're definitely going to do this or we're not going to do this. But like, Labour seem to have this like plague in their head of like, we've got to be ruthlessly honest. And there's times in life where, okay, yeah, that's technically the correct answer, and it's a lot more complicated than that. And hey, here's a 100-page manifesto for you to read. Read more about it. No. I don't have the time to read a 100-page manifesto about what I don't have the time to do that, and I'm into politics. Most of the people in this country do not have the time. Are not even into politics. They don't have time to read a book. Never mind a 100-page bloody manifesto. They're too busy running around trying to keep their head above water. And so, in the same way that if you're in a relationship and your partner says, "Does my bum look big in this?" you might have to say, give a diplomatic answer. There you go. That's the way of putting it. A diplomatic answer. I have no problem with big bums. I mean, wow, I think, what's the... as a little aside, like, I don't understand why having a big bum is a bad thing. Like, does anyone complain about, do my boobs look big in this? Does my... I won't go on. Anyway, but, you know, there's times in life where you've got to employ a bit of diplomacy and give a bit of a non-answer. Isn't that what politicians are supposed to do? Are they not trained in this? A political veteran like David Lammy, who was in government in the Blair Brown administration, how can they not know this? And then Starmer doubles down because he goes, "Oh, well, you know, we've got to let it bed in. We've got to look at this, and it's complicated." No, just stop it, guys. Look, we're here to help. Please stop talking. All right. If you can like shut down what you're being asked in just a few words, use those few words. Shut it down. And when you are in power, we, the people who put you there, will hold you to account. We will hold your toes to the flame to get you to do the things that we want you to do. I'm not interested in pledges right now. I just want the Tories out. But once the Tories are out, then the real work is going to begin, especially on this channel. Because I want to help be a conduit between the Labour Party and us, the people who vote for the Labour Party. We don't have any power otherwise. We certainly don't have power over the Tories. Are you a millionaire? I'm not. You know, if we were millionaires, then yeah, we could have some amazing power over the Tories. That would be amazing. Yeah, great. Thanks for that. We could tell them what to do. We could all become lords in the House of Lords. It doesn't even cost £1 million, that, is it? It's about 22,000, I think, these days. What's the going rate for a gong? So, yeah. It's very frustrating. And there was a great video by Phil. Well, first of all, Max put out a video yesterday going, "What the hell are Labour doing?" And then Phil put out a rebuttal video saying, "Well, they're doing it because of this," and he explained it very well, as Phil does. And then Max did another video going, "Oh, sorry, yeah, you got a point there. But why are we discussing this? All we should be discussing is how to get the Tories out." It shouldn't be like, "Hey, these Labour people could really do with some social media training, or just media training, full stop, and how to deal with when these questions come up, because of course they're going to come up. So the next time that millionaire, privately educated blob Nick Ferrari asks Keir Starmer, can a woman have a penis? He's got a stock answer to come back to. He doesn't start erring and umming and not knowing what to say. No, you say, yes, of course she can. Your mother had you. Or at least that's what I would say. Anyway, David Faulkner, thank you very much for your 38 Hong Kong dollars there. I watch every day. I do hope that Labour can reverse 13 years of Conservative decimation. I do as well, man. I do. I feel it in my bones. And Conservatives dropped to €2.50 into the chat. Congratulations on 30,000 plus subscribers. Yay! Yeah, we hit the 30,000 last week. It's quite exciting, and now we're on about 30,400, which is wonderful, which is amazing. And it's probably mostly to do with Phil rather than me, but it was my idea to set this up. Anyway, so exciting stuff. Later today, I'm going to be doing Prime Minister's Questions. So I'll be doing commentary on Prime Minister's Questions. And then tomorrow morning, we've got Phil doing Morning Brew. And then I'm going to meet up with Phil. And we're going to try and record a podcast together. I don't know what the point of doing podcasts is, because to be honest with you, like if you think about how you make money on YouTube, it's by making content. And I can make content here in the basement of my house without having to travel anywhere, not least to wherever Phil lives in the UK. So yeah, but we're gonna try and make it work. But kudos to Phil for helping out so much with the launch of this channel and getting us off the ground. He has been absolutely amazing, and he's got a lot of good points. He's got a lot of good points. He knows how to make them. And the fact that the Labour Party don't say, hey, Phil, do you want a job, is just beyond me. It is absolutely beyond me. Because one thing I'd also say, when channels take off, and obviously we're still in the sort of birthing phase at the moment on this channel, but when they take off, you earn a lot of money. You can earn a lot of money from this stuff. And so for Labour, it's a win-win. A chance to have daily, twice a day videos going up, promoting whatever Labour want to promote into the internet, and they actually make money back off it. Wow. Just do it. Just do that thing. The way Trump used Twitter to become president of the United States? It was free. You don't have to pay for that. Just put tweets up. They were horrible. He's a horrible man. And hopefully he's going to jail forever. But, you never know. You never know. Anyway, so, I'm going to sign off now. Thank you very much for joining me for this morning brew, in which we talked about Trump's legal troubles. There's more to come. He's got to be done for, he's got, 30-odd indictments in New York for business affairs. He's got his January the 6th insurrection legal woes, and also I might point out that the Proud Boys went down for sedition, which is one step below treason, but it's still pretty treasonous as things go. Sedition. So if they can prove that Trump told the Proud Boys, if someone can get that smoking gun communication between Trump's people and the Proud Boys, Trump could get done for sedition. I know, wishful thinking, he's rich, he'll probably get away with it, but as it was proved last night, they don't always get away with it. And then finally, we've got the whole kerfuffle about the stolen documents, the classified documents that he stole and just had lying around Mar-a-Lago. Because like Boris Johnson, Trump doesn't care. He just doesn't give a shit about you, about anyone, about anything, about society, the environment, the future, women's rights, gay rights, people's rights, minority rights. Just, he doesn't care about people. Because both Boris Johnson and Donald Trump are psychopaths. And the people who follow them are the kind of people who write to psychopaths in jail, who've been jailed for murdering people, and say they want to marry them. Thankfully, those people are in the vanishing minority. And that's why I hope that this should be the beginning of the end of Trump as a politician in America. But you never know. Time for Minecraft, says Duke Vengeance. He doesn't care because he's never suffered consequences. Yeah. Yeah, never had to take responsibility ever in their lives. Never been told no. Just been surrounded by people who just told them how great they were, which is not something that you really want in life because it doesn't get you anywhere, and it can end up with you making something like Star Wars Episode 1. Right, George? Okay, until 12 o'clock for Prime Minister's Questions, I'll say thanks for watching. Thanks to all my patrons and YouTube members. If you want to become a patron, you want to become a YouTube member and then join our Discord server, the Labour Social Discord server, which I'll be going on to now, you can sign up at patreon.com/Labour Social, or you can sign up on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@Labour Social. Don't forget the @. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.